Today, I'm so pleased to introduce Cecile Mazzacurati, a leading voice in global efforts to end gender-based violence. You bring a deep expertise through your work experience through the United Nations FPA as a gender advisor, forwarding strategies that tackle both immediate needs and long-term systemic change. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And how was your commute here? I know it's so much going on in the world today.
A little crazy right now in New York City with the General Assembly.
Nice. Awesome. So we're so happy to have you. And I just want to jump right in. Is that okay with you?
That's great.
Awesome. So much of your work has centered on reducing gender-based violence and harmful practices around West and Central Africa. What drew you to this work, and how do you see your role today contributing to a broader effort to end gender-based violence?
So I work with the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, and I'm just returning from 3 years in Senegal, where we have a regional office that covers 23 countries of the West and Central Africa region. And it's a region where gender norms, unequal gender norms, gender-based violence, lack of access to education, sexual and reproductive health care really impacts the populations and really impacts adolescents and young people specifically. And it's a very young region. 66% of the population, 66% of 471 million people in this region are under the age of 25. And I had done a lot of work supporting youth activism and engagement in peace and security earlier on, including the leadership of adolescent girls and young women. But it's actually really difficult in that part of the world and elsewhere because of the violence and the threats that adolescent girls and young women face. If you're married at age 14, if you're not in school, it's very hard to engage in public life. And everywhere for women, engaging in public life, even simply public discussions, can be very dangerous. So that was really the reason why I wanted to work on GBV specifically in that part of the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, that 14. Wow, that is crazy. And so in your report, I want to shift to your report toward zero gender-based violence, harmful practices in West and Central Africa. You mentioned new forms of gender-based violence, including the tech-facilitated gender-based violence. Could you unpack what kinds are already manifesting and which ones you see as like rising threats?
So in that region of the world, as elsewhere, but in that region specifically, you really see a continuum of and a diversity of forms of gender-based violence. So you have what we call traditional harmful practices like female genital mutilation. 17 countries in the region have female genital mutilation as a practice. In some countries like Guinea, Sierra Leone, Mali, it's 80% of the girls who are cut. In this region of the world, you also have 7 out of the 10 countries that have the highest prevalence of child marriage. So it's girls being married when they're still children. And then, of course, you have intimate partner violence, sexual violence, including in conflict crisis, etc. And in addition to these traditional forms and well-known forms of violence, you have new forms of violence emerging, including facilitated by technology. Now, the extent of the phenomenon in the region is not well known. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence, but there's not a lot of research yet that would really show the extent of the phenomenon. But I want to share an anecdote to illustrate. So I was meeting with activists who are working on ending female genital mutilation. They're from the Central Sahel, Francophone countries. And so their whole day, they're going and they talk to their community members. They talk to religious leaders to explain how harmful it is for girls to be submitted to female genital mutilation. They go to radio talk shows, etc. So that's their daily work. Then at the end of the day, they come home, they turn on their computer, and here they find hate mail. They find that their address has been put out on Facebook. So you see you see the situation. They're fighting violence in different ways and at every step, and they're themselves victim of these forms of violence that are, again, really threatening women rights organizations, women rights activists, but again, to extent and forms that are not well known and understood in that part of the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, not awesome that it's happening, but that information is just, because you think about it, the question when I framed it, I was thinking about, the people that are living there, not even thinking about the people that are there to do the work, that are there to educate and inform those who are impacted by this violence, they are now becoming victims of that same violence in different forms because of their activism, because of their desire to educate and inform the community. So that is exceptional here. That also too, that you're being made aware of it, but also like you said, it's still too fresh to have the numbers, but people are being made aware of it, and people are looking to figure out how do we make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is one takeaway you have for viewers of this broadcast?
Ending gender-based violence is possible, and everyone has a role to play. You can be just a parent, maybe you're an educator, maybe you're a broadcaster, or maybe you're a religious leader, maybe you're working in the private sector in tech. Everyone can play a role. You can call out inequalities. You can call out gender discrimination, because gender-based violence blossoms and develops on a bedrock of thinking that women and men are not equal, thinking that gender is an ideology and that it's not just about the equal rights of all people. So I think everyone can just do their part every day by just calling it out when they see it, by reminding everyone that everyone has the same rights, and it can be to your kids, to your community members, to your political leaders.
Thank you so much. I love the simplicity of that statement, that everyone has a part and that this can end. I think when we ask those questions, we look for the big, profound, long messages about all of the, laundry list of things that you could be doing. But the simple statement is that it can end and everyone has a part is so simple, but so profound. So thank you so much for your time today, Cecile. I really enjoyed this conversation, and thanks for being here with us.
Likewise. Thank you so much.